Hey everyone, this is your favorite history buff, and we are traveling with history. I hope y'all like more French history, because that's what we're going to do today. It is the biography of Maximillien Robespierre, one of the key figures in the French Revolution, architect of the Reign of Terror, or at least one of them. You know I'm going to go through as much of his life as I can, hence research. I do hope you enjoy this. But anyways, why don't we begin? As I introduce him, remember, I'm going through his origins, his childhood, his public service, his role during the French Revolution, and of course, the Reign of Terror, and his demise with the legacy or the aftermath. You could think here. Maximillien Robespierre de Robespierre was born in Arras, France, on May 6, 1758. And of course, he was the oldest sibling. His mother sadly passed away when he was 6 years old, and his father left them. Well, they were all raised by their maternal grandparents. And he eventually went to Paris for his law degree. He became a successful lawyer, practiced law in Arras, but that's through his humble life and all. You could say he had it rough in the background. Service in France, he was devoted to Jean-Jacques Rousseau, forgive the butchery, philosophical thinker on European enlightenment, a man of radical change. Robespierre, idolizing this man, wanted political change for the French monarchy. Don't forget, the rich were not helping the poor during the time. Matter of fact, Robespierre, his nickname was the Incorruptible. He was elected to the Estates General of the French legislature. And of course he escalated his attacks on the monarchy, which also helped with his fame. Strange thing. Well, at first, not strange. He wanted democratic reform, he hated the death penalty, and he was an abolitionist. He was elected in 1789 as the president of the Jacobin political faction, which is the left side, monarchy being the right side. Political spectrum, left and right wing, French Revolution. Of course, 1789 was also the same year the revolution began. If you participated in, you could say, the French version of the Declaration of Independence, the Declarations of the Rights of Man and Citizen. He eventually grew a little more radical. He said that the execution of the king would be very helpful, and the crowd rose up. Seems they were pleased with this. July 27, 1793. Selected to the Committee of Public Safety. He also faced pressure as he eventually initiated the Reign of Terror in September in the same year. That's where things got really crazy. 300,000 suspected counter-revolutionaries were arrested. Of course, 17,000 or more dead by beheading. Guillotine, otherwise known as the National Razor. That wasn't outlawed until 1977. That's a different story. You could say Maximillien Robespierre was corrupted by power. Maybe played God and all. But let's get on to the next part. The Reign of Terror. As he was one of the key architects to it. Committee, they reformed the military. And they had successful victories against foreign adversaries. For the First Coalition, 1792-1797, Battle of Wattignies, and the Siege of Toulon, very successful. The French won those fights. The foreign powers were dealt with, but Jacobins did not give up their power. Or the Committee of Public Safety. he still was paranoid of the threat of counter-revolutionaries. Even his friends, Georges Dalton and Camille Desmoulins, well, he had them executed. Even his friends who disagreed with him. They helped him, don't forget. Now, for strange reasons, or unknown, Robespierre went into seclusion. Some suspected he was getting weaker in his health. Others believed that when he had his friends beheaded, that guilt came over him. Nonetheless, his enemies, while he was out, stood together. They took power before he could have his return. Not a good sign for him. He had his defense. He did give his 2-hour speech, and of course claimed of the list of traitors. And if they got that happening, people may have been convinced, but Pierre Cambon, who was the head of the finance committee, demanded that Robespierre tell the truth. Despite his supporters protecting him, the revolutionary, well, he couldn't protect himself. His power was waning. And he was arrested after a failed escape by soldiers. He did escape with the help of a sympathetic jailer, took refuge in Hotel de Ville, and he tried to commit suicide by shooting himself, but he only managed to wound his jaw. He was eventually recaptured by the troops that stormed the building, and him and many of his followers were executed the next day. After he was beheaded, his death was applauded by the crowd for 15 minutes. The Committee of Public Safety, they lost all their credibility. The French Revolution became less radical, and the various the corruption and military failures had returned. Ironic, huh? The reign of terror and the Jacobin ideology perished with them. Napoleon Bonaparte and a few other cohorts overthrew the revolution with a military coup, 1799, and he was the first consul before becoming the Emperor of France in 1804. But this is what happened. I wanted to thank everyone for watching this video. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed this, ding that bell if you want more. There may come more in the future. Let me know what you liked, disliked. If suggestions, let me know. Keep it respectful. Other than that, that's all I have. I'm Maximillien Robespierre. And now, I say bye-bye now.